Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Horsetooth Cinema. Today I'm going to be reviewing Asteroid City, which is the newest film by director Wes Anderson. So first off, I just want to say that this review is kind of special for me because this means that I've had the channel long enough where I'm actually going for round 2 on a filmmaker right now, where Wes Anderson's last film, The French Dispatch, was the first ever movie I reviewed on this channel. So this is kind of a fun little milestone for me. In Asteroid City, we see world-changing events spectacularly disrupt the itinerary of a junior stargazer space cadet convention in an American desert town circa 1955. Wes Anderson is a filmmaker I've liked for a really long time, and he's also somebody that I've grown to appreciate his best work more and more the more I continue watching movies. I just think he's one of the best modern auteur-directors that we have in terms of pastiching, different aspects of films that he likes, mostly French films, together, but still making it feel very much like his own thing. I've seen all his films except for Royal Tenenbaums and Isle of Dogs at this point. I would say Wes is at his weakest when his very pronounced style kind of drowns out the emotion of whatever film he's making, and I think he's at his best when that style actually elevates the emotion that the film's going for. It's why for me that The Life Aquatic, Moonrise Kingdom, and Grand Budapest Hotel are his best films to date. They still feel like they have the emotional core that really drove his earliest films, the stuff like Rushmore or Bottle Rocket, but at the same time they have a much more pronounced style, which again I think elevates the material. Like I just think of the ending scene, or like one of the closing scenes of Life Aquatic, where Steve Zissou and the whole crew go down in the submarine and observe that shark with the song playing. Yeah, I mean the style really helps. But it's elevating the heart of the story about this lonely character. And I think for a lot of people in the last few years, Wes has started to be his most Wes. He's really started to pronounce his style even more so. When I first saw French Dispatch and reviewed it for my channel, I liked it. I stand by most of what I said in that review, but since I published it, I've also started to feel a little bit more distant towards the film, kind of not really remembering much about what I connected to emotionally with the film. And it felt to me like, because of how much the style stuck out in my mind in the long term, it's like retrospectively drowning out the emotion. Now, after having seen his newest film, Asteroid City, I think I'm actually gonna have to go back to French Dispatch and reevaluate it a little bit, because I think, as I'll get into, comparing the two is going to be interesting. And of the two, I actually think I very much prefer The French Dispatch. I'm going to start off with the positives with Asteroid City, and, it just has to be said, anytime you're talking about a Wes Anderson film, and this one's no different, this is as impeccably made as any of his films on a technical level. All the hallmarks are there, and they're all, really beautiful to look at. I mean, you have the kind of narrow frame, a very symmetrical cinematography. You have the very stagey production design that seems to be getting more and more stagey the more he goes on. And you have performances that I'll get into as well. They really elevate the dialogue. Just from every technical filmmaking level, I can't really say anything bad about this. Another thing I really like is that, like all Wes Anderson films, it's really funny. I really love just how dry the dialogue is, and I think, as I kind of alluded to with the actors' performances, they really do, milk every ounce of comedy out of this dialogue with their delivery. So that's always just a pleasure to watch. But ultimately, as much as I can praise the film, on a technical level, stylistically, that tends to not be what really sticks with me about it, and that tends to not be, the reason why I like movies. A movie could be well put together, but not connect with me emotionally. And I would put that on this level. I do like the film. I think it's good, but I'm not really connecting to it emotionally. And ultimately, I think that the major issue for me is just that Wes's style is far too pronounced here, and kind of like I was alluding to when I was talking about what makes a good Wes, what makes a bad Wes, or maybe not bad, but just like not as good. It's when the style starts to drown out the emotion. And I think because that happens here, this is probably one of my least favorite Wes Anderson movies. I think the style here is, as I've alluded to, Wes at his most Wes, and it drowns out the emotional impact, if any, that the film is trying to have. I actually am struggling to think of, is the film trying to have some kind of emotional lasting impact? Because it's just not coming through for me whatsoever. to the point where I'm like questioning the intentions of the filmmaker. Now, I did feel similarly to The French Dispatch when I first saw it, or at least when I started to get away from my initial viewing. But I think that there's a big difference for me between that film and this. The French Dispatch, you know, it had an emotional core to an extent about, you know, it's kind of Wes Anderson's ode to journalism, an ode to the spoken, or the written word, I should say. And despite how cold the style is, you really can, especially by that third story that they get to, you know, you can see how kind of in love with the written media he is. The artificiality in the film is there, and it's more, you know, emphasized than maybe some of his earlier films. But to me, especially looking at it in hindsight, it's not really drowning out that one particular emotional idea that he's going for. Now, I would say more than French Dispatch, Asteroid City is dealing with the idea of artificiality when it comes to filmmaking, which is an idea that I like, but I also think is kind of hard to connect to emotionally if there's not like a really great story or really great genre exercise going on. And weirdly, this is Wes Anderson's first genre film in a while. I want to say it's his first since sort of the crime story of Grand Budapest Hotel. And it's his first time doing a sci-fi film, but weirdly, none of the sci-fi elements really work. I mean, it's not a film where you really are intrigued by, like, you know, the impact of the alien. Again, everything that's done with that is all to do with the artificiality of the film. And there's also not very much, you know, emotional attachment to the character of the town as a whole and the people within it. So I'm not really left with much to sort of chew on. So yeah, overall, I can't say enough positive things about just the technical quality of the film. And I did enjoy it, especially on like a comedic level, just sort of laughing along, you know, with a lot of the jokes. But I did not connect to this emotionally whatsoever. And it actually made me reevaluate The French Dispatch in my own head, just because I think there's things about it that I would connect to a little bit more in a second watch. When I'm comparing this new film to that one. So I'm gonna give the film 3 stars. I know that's been kind of a staple for me lately, but I do honestly feel like a lot of the stuff I've been reviewing lately is a bit middle of the road. Looking forward to kind of catching up with some stuff later in the summer and later in the year that you know, will earn a higher rating from me. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, like it down below and subscribe to the channel if you want. I've got more reviews coming up soon. Definitely looking forward to a really cool month of July with stuff like Barbie and Oppenheimer. Hey, this is Future Jackson. Basically, the video that I was editing just cut off at that point, weirdly, in like the last 20 seconds that I filmed were just like not available. So I don't know what happened with that. But anyway, yeah, just stay tuned for those new reviews. I'm also doing a live stream with my good friend Josh coming up here on Tuesday. And so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.